Welcome back, lazy gamers. Welcome back to Civ 6. This is part 2 of Theodora's Byzantium game. In the last part, we basically had landed a religion and embarked on a sim game here. This hour, we will plan for some wonders and try to expand even further. It doesn't look like any of the other civs are an obvious threat to us. The only Jaivarman is pretty much the only one on our continent who could have been a problem, but I think we are well ahead of Jaivarman at this point. The heroes we have recruited so far are Sinbad and Anansi, and I'm guessing before this game is done, we will be getting them more than once for sure. But along with those two, I think there's a good chance that we will try for more heroes if we can get them. There are no specific wonders that I want to be trying for, but I'm going to try and build wonders in a pretty much in an opportunistic fashion. If I see an opportunity to get some, I will get them. Yeah, and one of the things that is I rotated around my governors. I situated Pingala in Antioch because right now it is my tallest city, and Pingala definitely has an advantage giving you high science and culture in tall cities. So he's there. I've moved Magnus back to Constantinople because I want to try and use Magnus's ability and get some chops in. Maybe get some wonders that way. But I think Constantinople really needs to grow taller and needs a lot more districts. We'll see. And Liang, I spoke about this in the last video, but the plan for Liang is to be in Thessalonica, in the city that builds the mausoleum of Halicarnassus. And yeah, eventually we'll get our fisheries up and running there too. I touched upon this point towards the end of the last video, but in the first hour, I did not quite manage my governor promotions optimally. While I was editing, while I was rewatching bits and parts of it, I was like, why the hell would I do? I was questioning my choices there, but it's fine. I think by and large, this game is set. I don't doubt that we will be winning this one, but the question really now is how do we win this one? And what does that path to victory look like? We do have a large amount of faith, which I will definitely be using to faith buy settlers. And I think I want to say that at least 4 or 5 more cities are on the cards. I just don't know where I would be placing them just yet. And since Anansi is out of charges, I think, yeah, just explore and maybe try to find some tribal huts, I guess. Another minor priority here is, looks like Gran Colombia is trying to spread their religion, which I think I need some apostles eventually to fight these guys off. But for now, I think just getting a few missionaries and spreading my religion is going to be fine. But I think a couple of apostles close to Ankara on that choke point, I think will hold off any religious units coming through.
When I saw the house of Artemis that mounted to the
From this point, let's time jump a few turns here because all I've been doing is simming along. Now, I did end up getting the Temple of Artemis, and there is a nice honey tile next to it, which definitely gives me an immunity because of Temple of Artemis. But I chose at this point to use that honey node and create an industry for the capital. Because among other things, an industry on honey gives you a lot of food and housing and really supercharges your growth, which I think our capital will need. That was an important choice to make, I think. Yeah, that camp evolved into Brussels, which we did not spend too much time in getting a suzerain off, and that definitely helps get wonders faster because Brussels' ability is it gives you a production benefit for making wonders. It definitely takes your game down towards a culture victory just on the strength of all the wonders that you might end up getting. And we also finished the mausoleum of Halicarnassus and Machu Picchu here.
Tomb lies over me in Halicarnassus, of such dimensions,
Pretty sweet.
Of such exquisite beauty as no other shade can boast.
And since we have Halicarnassus, I think Thessalonica's main job is to make builders as quickly as they can. Right, since we have Reformed Church, I think going to Theocracy just makes a lot of sense here. I don't know, I'm kind of not sold on which policies I want, but let's try to make some navy here, or get a bigger navy at some point. We'll need a fair share of Dromons. Serfdom and scripture are invaluable and they definitely stay. Diplomatic League probably stays as is. And I don't know what else. Maybe let's just pick urban planning here. That's fine. And let's queue up some Dromons here. I think if I'm going to be settling close to Jayavarman, just to be safe, I need some sort of a military on my northern flank. And we discovered Hercules, who I was pleasantly surprised to find that he's still available. Yeah, we'll definitely try to get him. Getting Hercules later in the game, or pretty much past the first 50 turns, is not as valuable as getting him like very early in the game. If we get him, I think we can make some good use of him. There will be a few districts that I can one turn that I will need. Will just supercharge the sim game by quite a bit. But mainly Hercules is invaluable if you're pursuing a science victory, because you can one turn or insta build the spaceports later in the game, which is far more valuable than any other districts you might want to be putting down from this point on. Because all my cities are very mature at this point, and I may not need Hercules' ability, but still, he's one of those heroes that it'll be great if we get him, but not the end of the world if we don't. Sweet. Those kills on those missionaries has pretty much spread our religion all throughout. And yeah, I don't see a situation where any other religion is going to threaten our lands. We have ample firepower to ward that off. Looks like our path to a culture win is going to be more straightforward than anything else. And I can actually take some steps here and accelerate this, as long as I get open borders with the ones who will give it to me, and if I can send some trade routes to whoever has the highest tourism so far. By all looks of it, it looks like if the AI civs don't improve their culture, I think the culture win is going to be the most straightforward way to win this one. Because right now, we are tops in absolute culture, and we are pretty competitive science-wise, but far from... Yeah, I would say middle of the pack, maybe closer to the bottom, closer to the lower end of the middle of the pack here for science. But our culture is only going to get better from this point on, and so will our tourism.
Wrath of Poochley was great.
And we got Huey. Took a while to get here, but we have it. And I think this, an Antioch, I think from this point on, yeah, I'll definitely put a hippodrome down, and I'll try and see if I can make a play for the Colosseum. Oh, damn it. I was hoping not to get the circumnav this era, because we have overshot our era score by quite a bit. And we met Tamar, so we have just one more civ to meet. And as far as dedication is concerned, I could make a play for Exodus of the Evangelists here if I want to hard push for a religion victory. But if I was planning that off the bat, I would have tried to get Moksha promoted, where you get double promotions on your apostles. But I think Monumentality is perfectly okay here. This game is strong. I mean, I could make pretty much every wrong decision from this point on, and we will still see a path to victory. Yeah, looks like the amount of scattered land masses that are in place, I think it's likely that, yeah, there will be a decent amount of city-states this game. Many clans are going to evolve into city-states from this point on. I was hoping the land to be far more interconnected overall, such that the AI typically gets through or gets to these squirreled away land masses, and clans typically don't evolve on them. But it looks like there is enough spots all over for that not to be the case. And we met England, who is the last civ, and we were the first to meet everyone. That is good. Meeting all civs is extremely important because your culture counter, or your essentially your tourism counter, if you're trying for a culture victory, that counter does not start until you meet a given civ. So if you end up meeting everyone very early in the game, which considering we are at turn 94 is not too far off, it's actually a good point, or not the earliest, but it is a early enough time in the game that we have met all of them, all the other civs, and it will make a tourism victory a little easier. And yeah, we are building a clutch of dromons here, and all these guys are, yeah, the dromons pretty much are for naval dominance, and I just want to make sure that there is no, like, typically if I, and later in the game when I'll be sending trade routes across the water, I don't want the possibility of villages. Typically on a map like this, like having Mogadishu in the game and having a suzerainty of Mogadishu is very helpful, because his Mogadishu's ability gives you, basically makes your trade routes or traders immune to being plundered. I still had 2 charges on Sinbad, and I don't think he's going to leave the game before that happens. And we built our first hippodrome,
Necessary, though.
our first of many, I'm sure. But this may not be a war game after all, even though we will have a large clutch of heavy cavalry units from this point on. Let's see. Cool. We suzerained Cahokia, and we have discovered Himiko. Himiko wouldn't be a bad hero to recruit. Typically in a peaceful game, she definitely can help speed up things. That is a decent continent to expand into, and we will try, but it doesn't look like it has any. Let's see, I'll try and settle a spot near some unique resources. Should make it work. Okay, there is a camp up north, which could be a problem. And I think this Dromon needs to watch that channel.
Under the White Cliffs battle.
Alright, we found the cliffs of Dover, and I think that is going to be a spot that I will try and settle near. And we have 2 camps in that area, so I think if I'm able to, maybe getting Sinbad to walk that land is not would probably be okay. Alright, time to evangelize. Do I commit to crusade, or do I commit to a building here? I think mosques are always good as Theodora, or as Byzantium, because your missionaries and your apostles get stronger, and it leaves open the possibility of a religion victory. Just keeps it easier. I mean, although war is probably the better way to spread your religion, but in case you did not want to, you can do it the old-fashioned way. And I think crusade is, yeah, let's do it. I think crusade is fine. Although the real question is how much actual crusading we will end up doing. Okay, that camp is definitely going to evolve into something, and I will try to accelerate that by buying a galley from them if I can. Might not have been the best idea, but I need to pay. I don't know if I'll be able to protect Mohenjo-daro here, but let's see. Maybe we can. And that clan is definitely going to evolve into a city-state. Let's see who that evolves into. Alright, that camp has evolved into Kabul. Kabul is not a priority here. Maybe some culture city-states, maybe even some religion ones are probably better. Okay, so there is a land camp somewhere in that fog, and I need to be careful with my settler walking close to that area. I do have the faith to get Anansi here. Either wait for get Anansi, or maybe wait a bit and get Sinbad again. I'm not quite sure. Yeah, let's do it. Let's yeah, there are a lot of tiles around my area anyways. A lot of like dead spots that I can use Anansi to get me faith and science, or culture and science. Oh, sweet. That camp evolved into Yerevan, who I absolutely want. Yerevan actually single handedly can win you a religion victory. And we do have a governor promotion here, and I'm not going Void Singers, I'm definitely not going Sanguine Pact. Okay, let's go for Owls. Let's see what happens. And Owls gives us an extra economic policy slot, which plays very well with like trade confederation or trade related policy cards. That's fine. When you pick certain secret societies, it all really boils down to what the AI does or how the AI feels about you. A part of that is quite dependent on which secret society you end up picking if it's enabled in the game. A hint into that is really how does the AI decide what society it wants to belong to. And honestly, like after all the games I've played, the logic of how the AI goes about this is actually not rocket science. Whichever society the AI unlocks first is typically the society that they will end up picking and following. So for example, if there is a wonder nearby, they will unlock Hermetic and they typically go for Hermetic. Similarly, if there's a camp and the AI starts with like 5 warriors, so if there is a camp nearby, the AI takes out the camp pretty easily, in which case they would go Sanguine Pact. But more often than not, because they are very likely to run into a tribal hut and unlock Void Singers, a majority of the AI in any game does end up picking Void Singers. So if you are trying for a peaceful game or from the get-go, generally always going to be the right choice if you don't want war. And most other societies are going to make it that much easier for you to go to war, or it's going to make it that much harder for you to stay at peace with your neighbors with the AI. It's just one of those things that when you play certain amount of games you will realize. And we have Hercules here, and I think among other things I'm definitely going to use Hercules to one turn the dam and possibly the holy site there, and maybe some other district somewhere, probably in one of the newer cities, I think. So Brazil has a religion, so he might try something stupid. Considering Brazil is neighboring Gilgamesh, and we are allied to Gilgamesh right now, and we could actually ally with Egypt also if we wanted to. But yeah, I mean, declaring war on Brazil would not be out of the question. It'll be something we can do. And we do have the ability to take Getzenbad back here. Now, besides these two camps right here, I don't see... Yeah, there is that north camp is also a possibility.
Betwixt the stirrup and the ground.
Yeah, let's get him. Let's put him to work. There are no more continents to discover, so getting gold from that front is out of the question. Yeah, but these camps are definitely ones that Sinbad takes out. And getting owls means that we have the option to get the Gilded Vaults, which is a bank replacement. And I think it just makes it more important for me to get more commercial hubs in as many of my cities as possible. Regardless of if they have harpers or not, I think the Gilded Vault will benefit. And I think, yeah, the Government Plaza, I think going Grand Chapel here is a no-brainer. I think all the fisheries possible are already up in the city. Now, we are allied with Cahokia, so it might be okay building a few Cahokia mounds. They do give amenities. But let's see. We're going to check out and see if there are any other things we could do. Alright, we have our industrial zone. And let's place one down in Thessalonica too. And I think the plan from this point on is to get our hippodromes and our theater squares up. Not only do we want to magnify our culture, but we want to make sure that we are well set to earn a lot of great writers, great artists, and great musicians from this point on. I think we will try hard and push for a culture win here. Alright, that's a bonus. Alright, Dover City is up, and this is a new continent, so it's always attractive to settle more cities on this continent here. Let's see. I don't remember how many turns it's been since we entered this era, but we have already secured our next golden age. This game could very well be one of those where we will stay in perpetual golden ages throughout the entire game. It's very, very possible. And it looks like so Pedro's culture is actually his absolute culture is higher than us at this point, which means he can very easily become a counterfoil to any culture win push we try to do. So actually neutralizing him and taking him out is actually quite important if I want to push through a culture win. Even if I was pushing to some other victory conditions, I think any path to any victory pretty much goes through Pedro, through Brazil here. And we got to neutralize him as soon as possible. The sooner we do that, the faster our victory condition evolves or materializes.
People can have the Model T.
Now that we have mass production, I think I need to prioritize shipyards in every one of my coastals that has a harbor. Definitely Thessalonica to start. I might want to buy the shipyard in Thessalonica though. Alright, we are suzerain with Yerevan. It feels like multiple things on multiple different win condition fronts is happening all at once. Yeah, Jayavarman has built the Oracle there. Yeah, I should have thought about taking out those luxuries, but yeah, I wasn't thinking too much about it. But yeah, I mean, if Oracle's a good price to have in war. I'm not averse to going to war with him to get that wonder under our control. And this camp is very oddly placed here because I can't hit it from the sea, and I think I need a few more units in that area to make an impact. But I gotta watch it. I gotta watch that camp and make sure things don't get out of hand there. We do have a lot of tribal huts to pick up here. I have a large set of dromons here, and none of them can affect the camp. So I'm going to send the trade route to Pedro at this point, just to maximize our culture or our tourism against him. But I think considering that his culture is higher than us and he can very well be a foil to our culture victory, I'm definitely going to go to war with him at some point. Just need to set things up, have things in position before we do that. Yeah, we lost our poor scout. That's fine. Sinbad can kill that camp and we can leave the other barbarians alone. If anything, we have pretty much made it impossible for Jayavarman to settle that continent or that island. Not impossible, but harder, because he will not be able to send a lone settler that way. Okay, looks like I need a few more apostles here because Grand Columbia is not going to stop. I think there is going to be a wave of apostles from this point on, maybe for a short while. And as long as we hold them off, I think we'll be able to very easily. But it's just one of those things that is annoying. It costs faith and you have to do it. To be honest, I would rather use my faith for other things, but it's fine. Yeah, there's a good chance I'm going to lose one of those units there. That's fine though. Can't do anything about it if we do. I don't want to wait for another unit to walk that way. Honestly, I could just back off that camp and like not engage, but it's fine. Better get rid of it sooner rather than later. Alright, camp is dead, but my knight might not survive. And since we have Yerevan, all my, at least my combat apostles are gonna take debater here. It does open up the opportunity for me to spread my religion down into Mongolia and Grand Colombia. Yeah, I sort of expected that. Typically, the knight would have been okay to hold off like two. One definitely, it might have been able to hold off two of the man-at-arms, but three is kind of pushing it. Alright, two more charges left on Sinbad. One is going to be on that camp. And let's see.
It's not the towering set.
Alright, I think take ritual here so we can build the gilded vault. Need to get to banking here. We'll get to banking soon enough. In hindsight, had I aimed for a religious victory from like turn 1, I could have played this game in a slightly different way. And yeah, I think I could have guaranteed that happens well under the turn 200 mark here. But at the pace at which we are going for the culture win, I think the culture win will also be sub 200. Yeah, let's try to get open borders everywhere and see if we can speed up this. But by all means, Pedro needs to die. As long as we kill Pedro, the turn times required for a culture win will definitely be short. It'll be nice to pick up some great engineers here, considering that we have the Mausoleum of Halicarnassus, but I don't think we need to pursue them like in other games. Let's see, maybe we can try for a few, at least some for the free wonders. That definitely helps a culture game. I can pick up one more hero. Let's see if we can get Himiko. Himiko will definitely help with some of our city-state suzerainties. We lost a few city-states, or rather we are contesting for them, or we are competing for them right now with the AI. And getting Himiko will simply guarantee that some city-states will stay within our sphere of influence for a long time. Okay, looks like... Okay, something happened here and we are at war with Pedro. Okay, it's time to upgrade our guys into... Yeah, I think the age of romance is done. Let's get some frigates. And definitely gotta kill this guy. Okay. I do have a military here on the side facing Jaivarman, but I don't want to walk. I think I'm going to leave these guys around in the same spot here, because typically this is about the time when the AI gets a little cavalier and might declare war. And Jaivarman, although he's weak and we can pretty much crush him, but it still takes resources from our side to deal with it. So having some units in the area is not a bad idea. In fact, it is a prudent thing to do. Yeah, we have the ability to build water parks now, and although the hippodromes are definitely better for Byzantium, Thessalonica might have been better with a water park, simply because it has so many sea tiles and all of them would have been improved eventually with like an aquarium and some of the sea buildings, but it's fine. It's okay. I mean, those tiles in Thessalonica are really, really strong, and well, they could have been better. They could have been stronger, actually. So this is the math, right? 6 of 93 is what our current tourism counter is at, and Pedro is at 92, and the one right after Pedro is Kublai Khan at 57. So really we take out Pedro and our tourism requirement to win the game gets cut almost in half. So this might be an opportune war and we will make the most of it. I think Hercules right now can simply explore. I'll walk him manually. I could auto explore him, but it's fine. So Pedro doesn't have any walls, which could actually be good for us. It makes it so much easier. His cities are going to fall really, really fast, I think. As long as he doesn't get the walls up, but let's see. I sort of thought that's going to happen. But yeah, we are at war with Jaivarman. He's declared. I don't know. He's probably feels a little adventurous at this point. It's not going to work, but yeah, looks like he is trying. Alright, we have captured Brasilia. Oh. Okay. I think Venice is allied to Jaivarman, so we lost Amani. We'll park her somewhere else, that's fine, but okay. This might not be as easy as I thought it would be. I think I'll need a little bit more. I think I'll need more firepower here. Oh, I think we are good. I don't think he's gonna be able to do much with just 3 units now. He might get some pillages off, which will be annoying, but yeah, I think we are fine. But I think some of all these northern cities, I think we'll need walls up. Thessalonica is getting it next turn, but yeah, pretty much. I think prioritize walls everywhere, just in case. The religion spread happens only when you get kills on enemy units. And Brazil might be light on units overall, which will make my religion spread harder. So I might need a few apostles explicitly spreading my religion in Brazil. But getting crusade, especially in some of the taller cities, or rather using crusade to capture some of the taller cities is going to be important. Sweet. Let's get some units here in close to Brazil. And we'll try to continue hitting his cities from this point on. Oh, I should have killed that missionary before I took the city. It might have helped spread the religion, but that's fine. I mean, when you can just conventionally take out things, I mean, crusade might have been an overkill. I might need a governor in the city though. Rio is the capital, and I don't think I can hit Rio from the sea. So I will need a bigger land force here. And I have 4 envoys. I think just take the ones that I had lost before. Yeah, that's fine. We have a decent collection of farms. Yeah, we can place down holy sites or hippodromes in that area eventually. I think the city cap in those cities is the limiting factor to building more districts. That'll change though, soon enough.
Your opinions are all.
Since Venice already has a religion, I wasn't really planning on this earlier in the game, but I think we can kill Venice. Venice doesn't have anything of consequence. I think just one luxury that we could use. But it's fine. It's actually it does give us a foothold. And although I don't need Jaivarman cities, I think we'll definitely try to pillage a few things. If we do end up capturing his cities, I don't mind holding on to them. Definitely would love to keep the Oracle city for one. Could plug in raid here or something that gives me gold. But I think something that gives me culture and or science would also not be bad. Raj could be useful. But let's go with invention here, I think. The collection of cards that are useful to us are more than the number of slots we have. So it's a good problem to have, but I need to keep an eye on what the cards are actually giving me. Kublai Khan is friendly, but I don't trust him anymore. I'm going to make sure there is a reasonable military force at the area. Wouldn't put it past the AI at this point. I could actually end up in a multi-front war. As far as Mongolia is concerned, I don't want to seek war with him. But if we do end up fighting him, oh yeah, it's definitely going to help. In fact, it inches us closer to religious victory if that happens, but I still think the culture win happens earlier. Yeah, and Pedro is definitely accelerating his culture. We have to take him out sooner rather than later. Yeah, I think Mongolia is up to something. I think I need a bigger force here. Yeah, I don't have a line of sight on Brazil cities from this point on from the sea, so my navy can actually fan out from here. Maybe leave a few in place just to get some kills and pillages, but a large chunk of them don't have to stay close to the Brazil lands. Alright, that was the last of Sinbad's charges. He can just explore from this point on. We found Caguana. Caguana is interesting. The Beatties. So I always did not think too much about the Beatties. But I mean, situationally, for a culture win, they can be very strong. And we have captured Venice. Yeah, let's place some districts down here. I don't have an encampment, and I think maybe Venice could use one because yeah, I don't expect to get any great generals, but maybe just having the ability to maybe recruit a few might be useful. Okay, no walls in the city either, so as long as the city doesn't have walls, it will be relatively easy. It will be relatively easy trying capturing it, but that could change. So my religion is not there, crusade isn't active, and we are still crushing his defenses pretty easily. Okay, I'm going to keep my navy somewhere on Mongolia's borders. In case he declares war, we can move in closer. We can open a new flank against him. But that war never came. I think I over-prepared for a potential war there, and in hindsight, I should have pushed for it. It might have gotten me a quicker religious victory. We also got Himiko, who helped retain the suzerainty of important city-states. Religious ones first and then culture and science city-states. All of them helped. We pretty much wiped Jayavarman off the map. In hindsight, since I kept most of his cities early on in the game, I should have been more careful with Anansi's tricks in Khmer lands. The war with Brazil was also at an end, with us holding the best of Brazil cities. Brazil was set up for a culture win push, and the war pretty much spoiled that completely. We did spread our religion naturally to Khmer, Brazil, Sumeria, Egypt, but Gran Colombia was the only other civ left who had their own religion. By the time I was ready to spread my religion there, the culture victory was upon us. Along the way, we got a fair share of wonders. Some we needed, some were useful, and many were simply labors of opportunity. And that was it for this game. We had a sub-200 culture win.
And how they are remembered. The beauty that you have inspired our people to create will ensure that our culture stands for all time.
Even though our science had eventually become competitive, culture was so much greater. It was a no contest really, and Theodora's ability where holy sites give culture is extremely powerful. And I know I could have sped things up with the win condition if I leaned on the culture win early. I have the turn 1 save in the description, so if you want to give this a try, do so and let me know how it worked out for you. Thank you for watching and stay tuned for the next ones.